Good evening,
Oh,
Drew.
Paul. Oh, Paul.
What's wrong, buddy?
I'm I'm just very low energy. I just literally got back from Nashville
Okay,
a little
okay.
bit ago.
Oh, okay.
Um I have opinions about that town.
Okay, how was Nashville? Okay, yeah. We want to hear them.
Noisy.
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 Okay, so listen.
Okay.
I everybody likes different things.
That's true. Hmm.
Everybody likes different things. And far from it for me to criticize somebody's good time. I like to do things that other people don't like to do and vice versa. But I don't think Nashville's for me.
Okay.
Mostly just because, and I've always kind of had this problem. Like I don't like super loud noises or places that are very noisy. And every bar down there has live music that is just like blaring 100% of the time.
Well,
So I was
it
in
is that city, right?
it is that city, right? And again, people there having a good time, good for them. It's not for me. I had to go down there for work, and we had some events down there, and of course that's what everybody wants to do, right? Like everybody wants to go out and go to dinner, and I'm all for a good meal. You know, your boy can eat.
Hmm.
And I like to go out to dinner, but literally every place you go out to dinner down there has somebody doing a bad cover of something. Like because that's just what it
Is
is.
it like a lot of country music too?
Oh, I mean it's honky tonks, right? So
Ugh. Ugh.
but here's the thing. Yes, there was a fair share of country music, but there were some people like covering Pearl Jam or people
Okay.
covering,
Okay.
like live or, other bands. And I don't hate those bands. I don't hate those songs. And good for people putting their own little, acoustic spin on some beloved classics, but it's just it's just a lot. And like in
Yeah.
Vegas, Vegas is crowded, Vegas can be loud, but like that's just the whole identity of that whole like downtown Nashville area.
Yeah.
And here's the thing.
Okay.
Everywhere I went smelled like sewage.
Really?
Yeah, there was just this pervasive sewage smell everywhere I went.
Oh no.
Now, I did go to a couple good places that I liked. I
Good.
found a really good new taco place down there that was recommended to me called the Velvet Taco. If you're ever in Nashville, I would say that that is sort of up near the Vanderbilt campus. I don't know. Maybe there's more of them. That's the one that I went to. And they had, trendy, hipster millennial tacos, right? So it's like chicken tikka masala taco, which
Ooh.
was really
I'd
fucking
fuck with
good.
that.
Yeah, chicken and waffle taco where the waffle is the taco.
Okay, I'd eat that
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
yeah. I ate a lot of these things. But yeah, it's just that town. I don't know. Maybe if I was like 15 years younger. Now, granted, there were people older than me loving it, and maybe they're just big fans of live music or anything like that. But Nashville's just not for me. And I drove down, which that's a
Ooh,
6 hour drive. But I like
okay.
having the flexibility to leave when I want and go where I want. And yeah, that's kind of my hot take on Nashville. You ever been?
Never been.
I don't. I mean, there are really good like bars and venues, and I'm kind of surprised that you haven't been down there for any kind of like metal shows because I'm assuming like any kind of live music event could happen at any of these venues.
Hmm. Hmm.
But you've never like had any
No.
like metal bands play
No.
in Nashville
No.
anywhere?
No.
Interesting.
Oh, and there it is. If you look at the history of cities we visited, you just check the legality of weed in those states, and there you go.
Oh, so you're saying that correlation does equal
It
causation
does.
in this?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I did smell a lot of weed.
Well.
People were definitely smoking weed because that is an unmistakable scent.
Mhm.
So people did have it. Okay, couple quick
Mhm.
little follow up things
Mhm.
before we get into the topics
Okay.
du jour
Okay.
tonight. Had a little bit of a scare while I was traveling.
Okay.
My Ubiquity gear,
Mhm.
I thought had completely crapped out on me. So
Oh no.
yeah, so here's the
That's a
thing.
bad time when you're not home.
That's a bad time when you're not home,
Yeah.
but it's doubly bad time because I rely on Ubiquiti to basically have a way for me to get on my home network from wherever I am.
Okay.
So Ubiquiti has this really cool feature on their Dream machines called Teleport. And essentially what that does is you can download an app for your phone, your iPad, your Mac, your PC, whatever. And essentially what that app does is it basically gives you one click like VPN access to your home. So if you're like, all you have to do is sign into that app with your credentials. And if your credentials are set up on the what we call the Dream machine, or like the basically the router, it's just a one click, turn it on, turn it off VPN. And not only can you use that app, but like the first time after you use that app, on your device, it will create a VPN profile on your phone. It'll create a VPN connection on macOS. It'll create a VPN connection in Windows, whatever. So like you can either turn it on there or you could turn it on in the app. And that's really handy for me for a couple of reasons. One, if I'm on like shitty hotel Wi-Fi with, everybody else who's on shitty hotel Wi-Fi or airports or wherever, I could take a little more comfort in being able to like have a VPN connection and like be able to, have a little more security around, what I'm doing if I need to like log into my bank or do other work related stuff while I'm there. The other nice thing about it too is like if I'm sitting in a hotel room, because I haven't watched like TV in a hotel room in forever. What I typically do is I will fire up my VPN through Teleport and I will watch Plex. I will watch like
Yeah.
episodes that I have saved of things that I want to watch. All works super great. So anyway, I get to Nashville earlier this week, and I got there on a Monday night, and I checked into the hotel, met a friend for dinner, whatever. So I get back to my hotel room, and I hop on the hotel Wi-Fi, and I go to fire up my VPN, and it's not connecting. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So in the app, it basically tells you the status of your like remote device because, just like everything else, that's connected to the internet, and you could even like go to the Ubiquiti website, and if you have remote management enabled, like you could like log into your device from there. So in the app, it says my device was offline, and I'm like, I wonder if the internet's down at home or whatever. But what concerned me was the app said that it hadn't seen my machine for 2 days. Now, doing date math is always hard. But this is a Monday, and like I had internet and I had, Wi-Fi and everything in my house, and everything was working the way I expected it to well throughout the weekend. I assure you. So I was like, well, this is interesting. So it was like 8:30 Nashville time, and it's an hour behind Columbus time. So I was like, man, I really would like to get connected, if only just because I would feel a little less gross being on hotel Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So I did what anybody would do in this situation. I called my wife, and I woke her up, which is always a good time. And my wife's a trooper, but she's not a network engineer. And I was like, listen, could you go downstairs and tell me, like, is like that equipment on? And she's like half asleep, and bless her heart, she did. She got out of bed. So she goes down to the basement, right? And she has no idea what she's looking at, because of course she doesn't. She's a normal human who doesn't worry about this stuff. And I says to her, I was like, what does it say on the front of it? She goes, what do you mean? And I said, well, on the left-hand side, there's this gray box. And I had to like describe which gray box to look at, because like everything's gray. So after we had a little like FaceTime incident of like figuring out which gray box she needed to look at, she's like, yeah, there's just stars on it. And I was like, okay, well, that's good. It's online. I was like, is everything blinking? And she's like, yeah, everything's blinking. And I was like, okay. I was like, do me a favor, unplug that device. And she goes, what do you mean? And I said, do you see the plug? And she said, yeah. And I was like, well, just unplug it. She goes, well, where is it plugged in? And I said, I thought you said you found the plug. So this went on for like 10 minutes. And then eventually she traced it like back to like the UPS that I have. Like, again, like she doesn't need to know this, right? Like this is like one of my responsibilities in the house. But like,
right. Yeah.
I was like, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to have her unplug this. She's going to plug it back in, and then everything's going to be fine. She can go back to bed. I'm going to get VPN access. So she yanks the power, right? And then like FaceTime freezes, because all of a sudden, like now there's no Wi-Fi, because that device also controls the Wi-Fi in my house. But as an iPhone does, it senses that it doesn't have internet. It falls back to cellular. So we're on FaceTime. And she's like, how long do I wait? And I was like, just count to 10 in your head and then plug it back in. So she plugs it back in and she says, "Oh, the little screen says it's booting up and it says 5 minutes." And she sounded like super disappointed because I could just tell she wanted to go back to bed.
It's like I'm going to sit here for 5 minutes. Yeah.
But
Ugh.
but trooper that she is, and God love her, she sat there and like the bar started to fill up and then it said 3 minutes and it said 2 minutes and it said 1 minute. And I was like, "Well, okay, it should be done by now." And she goes, "It doesn't say it's done." She says, "It says it's taking a little bit longer." And I said, "Okay, well, is everything on the front of it blinking?" And she said, "Yeah." And then I said, "Do you have Wi-Fi?" And she said, "No." And I said, "Uh-oh." Uh so I said, "Turn 90 degrees to your left." And I said, "There's a big white disc on the wall by the circuit breaker."
Uh-huh.
I was like, "Is that blinking or is it lit up blue?" And she goes, "It's blinking." And I'm like, "Fuck." Okay, so now I made everything worse. So now she doesn't have Wi-Fi at the house. So I was like, "Well, what does it say on the front of the machine?" And it just says, she said, "It just says that it needs more time." And I was like, "Babe," I was like, "I'm so sorry. You're going to have to like not have Wi-Fi for like," at that point, I thought a couple days. I was like, "Just go back to bed." And I was like, "Text me when you get up in the morning and let me know if that says anything different." So she hangs up, she goes back to bed. And then I, started to do a little research. I'm like, did my like is my UDM like completely broke? Did it brick? Like what happened here? Because this was working fine, and like I never
Mhm.
got any like critical error messages. Because like it'll send you like critical notifications with like the Unify app on your phone, like if it loses internet or anything like that. Never got any of that stuff. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I just decided to go to bed, try not to think about it. I had other things on my mind. I'm like, I'm just gonna go to bed. So she gets up and she sends me a text in the morning, like a screenshot, and on the little picture that she sent me with a camera, it has on the little display, it says Dream Machine needs to restart. And I'm like, this has to be a trap because I know what's gonna happen. She's gonna unplug it. And like, by the way, like I told her, like, can you swipe that little screen? And she goes, what do you mean? I was like, literally, can you swipe that little screen? Because that is a capacitive little display. And like, that's how you're supposed to like gracefully shut it down and
Okay.
like check the status of everything. But she's like swiping every which direction and nothing's happening. I'm like, okay, this thing's like frozen or it's not
Yeah,
working.
yeah.
So I was like, okay, here's what I want you to do. I said, I want you to unplug it again. And I just want you to leave it off all day. I was like, go to school, just leave it off all day. When you get home later tonight, this is Tuesday night now. I was like, when you get home, call me. I'll have you plug it in. We'll try one more time. And if it doesn't work, then I'll just deal with it when I get home. So I, but as she was getting ready to hang up, I said, could you just do me one more favor? And like on the front of the UDM, there is a place to put in a hard drive. So there's like, if I was using Ubiquiti Security Center, for example, you can put a hard drive in there and have it be a recorder. And you can also offload like other stuff like logging and whatever to this thing. So like I had an old RAID like NAS hard drive sitting around that I had plugged in there like forever ago. And I was like, can you just press in on that little door and it should pop out? And she's like, yeah, it just did. And I was like, well, pull the whole thing out. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, just take that thing that just popped out and pull it out. And so she did, right? So now there's no hard drive in it. And I said, just set it on top of like the rack and then plug everything back in and go to, I was like, leave everything unplugged. And when you get home from school tonight, plug it in and let me know what happens. So lo and behold, she goes to school and I'm in meetings and everything on Tuesday. And I get a text. She's like, yeah, I plugged it in and now Wi-Fi's back.
Hey.
And I looked at my phone and like I opened up the teleport app and now like magically my device is back online.
Okay.
And like part of me wanted to like the troubleshooter in me was like, I should have her shut it down again. I was like, nope,
No.
Drew,
Yeah,
no,
no.
everything's
No.
good.
Bad.
Bad Drew, slap my hand, like, slap my hand. We're not gonna do that. But apparently what had happened was if like in the process of booting up or if that is online and there is a hard drive in there, if the hard drive goes bad, it can cause issues. Now, again,
Really?
I'm not
Okay.
using Ubiquiti's like store or security solution at all. Like when I was setting this thing up, I was like, oh, hard drive slot, hard drive go in here. Drew have hard drive. So like I just put one in, right? I just put one in,
Yeah, okay.
not
I
really
get it.
thinking about it.
I
And
get it.
like, and after the device came back online and I was able to VPN into my house, I immediately logged into my device and like I'm looking through my logs, right? And there's not anything in any of the logs that talks about like hard drive failure or like device offline or corrupt, or there's like no critical errors in the device. So, long story short, I have no idea what happened here. If you are listening and, we talked about my Ubiquiti setup and how I redid all my home network and everything. And truth be told, this incident aside, it has been like very, very rock solid. But I'm legitimately confused as to what happened here because I just can't explain it. But after reading some things online, apparently, like if the hard drive is corrupt or has like a bad read sector or something like that, apparently that can cause like entire system stability. And I took the hard drive out of the little cradle that goes into the device and put everything back together today when I got home, and like everything's still fine.
Okay.
But more investigation. So if you're using Ubiquiti stuff, I would advise you not to put a hard drive in it, first of all. And I'll probably come back with a follow-up if I can figure out just what the hell happened. But so far, in every log I've looked at, every monitor I looked at, now, of course, it tells me like, hard drive missing, which, duh, like I know that.
Exactly.
But yeah, a little bit of a scare there. I was worried that I was going to have to like, RMA this thing because I don't even think it's a year old. I can't remember exactly when I put that in, but it was a little bit of a scare. And that's just not a piece of equipment that I have the budget to replace at the moment. So,
got it. Yeah.
All right. Next thing for me, and then we'll get to your stuff.
Okay.
I took my new gun out to the range and shot for the mile.
And?
So I was able to get close. I did not hit a target. But there were I definitely got close a few times.
Okay.
This is just one of those things where I need more reps, and like ironically, like the problem is my tech. It has nothing to do with the ballistics. It has everything to do with the tech. So get more tech problems here in Drew's Tech Corner.
Do you
today.
need to buy more technology, or do you need to hone in the tech you have?
It's just reps. It's not only reps with shooting and the discipline of like being able to hit that shot. Because I'm so heavily invested not just in the gun but also the tech, right? So like when I go to a range like that, in addition to like bringing my gun, I'm bringing a lot of technology. Because again, this sport has evolved so much from when I first got into it, right? So like my ritual is I get there, I set up my gun, then I set up my anemometer. So the anemometer is like the wind meter, and it sits on like a little tripod. It's got a little fin. So like not only does it measure wind speed, but it will like rotate on like a weather vane to also tell you the wind direction. Now, we are tech people, right? So not only does the little display on there tell me what's happening, it's got Bluetooth. So now it can feed that data into something like a ballistic calculator. So instead of having to like manually call wind or anything like that, I know the direction, I know the speed. So that is one less variable that I have to like manually calculate in my head. And it also measures like barometric pressure, temperature, all that stuff. And all of those are variables that when you're trying to do a ballistic calculation is something that you have to take into account, right? So there's the properties of the gun, there's the properties of the barrel, there's the properties of the bullet, there's the properties of the wind and its conditions and all this other stuff. So the way that this currently works, and as I say it out loud, I realize how stupid this sounds. So the way that it currently works is, so I got my little tripod boy over there with my anemometer, measuring everything. That data is being sent to my phone. In addition to that, I have on my new gun, if you want to go back and listen to that episode where I talk about all the shit that I bought, I have that laser rangefinder also on my gun. And that data is also being sent to the ballistic calculator on my phone. And it can talk back and forth to my phone. So like the way that this is supposed to work is that if everything is working in harmony, what I do is I take my gun and I aim at the thing that I want to shoot at. I then hit a button on my laser rangefinder that basically sends out an infrared beam, hits the thing. If everything is aligned correctly, big asterisk there. If everything is aligned correctly, hits the thing, tells me how far away it is, takes all of those ballistic parameters and weather conditions and everything, like the muzzle velocity, like the height of the scope on the gun. Like there are like 24 data points that go into the calculation. And at the end of it, it tells you like, okay, here's what you need to dial your scope to account for drop.
Okay.
Here's how far you need to aim left or right to account for wind and drift. And if everything works correctly, you should be able to put the crosshairs on the target or, adjust as necessary and take a shot. The problem is that obviously there are variables in my current calculation that are not correct, because I was taking these shots and they weren't like, I had a guy spotting for me and I was shooting and looking through my optic and I did not see these shots land at all. So clearly I was like usually what that means is I'm sailing them over where they're supposed to go. So we dialed it way back and we were able to sort of like see impacts in the dirt. And then we were like, okay, so then we sort of like started walking it up to the target by like slowly increasing the elevation. And it was a pretty windy day. There were a couple shots that came close to hitting one of the steel targets at a mile, but no joy. So that's a really long way to say is like, not only do I need reps shooting at that distance, they're, having all your technology working correctly and having your calculations correct. I mean, that is part of it. I would love to tell you that is a wonderfully precise yet imprecise hobby and sport, because there are so many variables that change frequently, especially when wind conditions are variable. Like, and that's where the human element of this comes in, because those calculations are being fed at whatever rate the Bluetooth connection is sending the data. But the conditions where I'm standing are not the conditions at 1,760 yards away. Like the wind out there is probably different than the wind where I'm standing. And you have to be able to like look at trees or look at flags and look at all of that stuff and be able to make that call and do the adjustment in sort of what I call like that literally the last mile brain calculation of like, okay, here are the conditions, here are my known variables, here are the things that are currently under my control, and then how you adjust that at the last second before you shoot. So the season is young, summer's coming up. We're going to be out there a hell of a lot more between now and the end of the season.
You'll get it.
I'll get it. I actually feel pretty confident. The one thing that I was able to confirm is that, with the investment that I made, I was absolutely drilling shots at 1,000 yards. Like it was nothing.
Good.
Like just dead center target, like super great. Felt really good about that. Whereas my other rifle, that's a little bit of a stretch. This caliber and this gun has the legs to get to a mile. It's actually kind of fun to like shoot and then count 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, and then see an impact. That's really cool. You can actually see the trail of the bullet. Like it's really fun. But we are on track. I had no illusions that I was going to get this on the first try, but to be continued. More updates if you're into shooting and following that kind of stuff. I will definitely bring more information back, but so far so good.
Good.
Now, on to your stuff, because people are sick of me. You dropped a hell of a bombshell after we were done recording last week.
Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you. Have a there's a picture incoming.
Oh boy. Is this going to be show art, or are you not going to?
I don't know if I'm going to be allowed. This might just
look at that. Look at that handsome boy.
Yeah. So last weekend, it was prom. It was prom weekend. It was prom. And I didn't go to prom, but my son did.
Okay.
Yeah.
What a milestone, huh?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Your son already has your hair color. So Paul sent me a picture of his son Zach and his prom date. Is that a friend of his, or was this like, did he have to do like a promposal? I want to hear the whole story here.
So I know some things I'm not supposed to know.
Well, you're a dad, so okay.
I have a rat. I have a confidential informant in the house who has told me things.
Okay, let's hear the story.
Okay, well, I don't want to say too much because I don't. Well, who knows? Who knows? So
He
yeah,
doesn't listen, right?
yeah, but yeah. Well, he could hear me in my office.
Oh, okay. Well,
uh,
okay.
so yeah, prom was coming up. Originally he was just gonna go with some friends. Like one of his friends, and like they're dating. But he was just gonna go hang out with friends. They went out and like together, like him and a bunch of his, his friends went out and picked tuxes and like all got the same colors and stuff. Uh, then there was a drama where his friend broke up with his girlfriend, and then there was drama, and then I don't know how. There's some details that I am very fuzzy with, but there was this girl that he wanted to ask to prom. Her name is Kylie. I haven't really met her yet. She's also in band. She plays flute. Same age.
Flautist.
Yep, same age. He did ask her to prom. Apparently, there was a sign that was made.
Aw.
Which
Okay.
I'm not supposed to know that.
Okay.
And she said yes. So that happened, I guess, relatively close to prom. So there was some like shuffling of like getting like a handkerchief that like matched her dress, and coordinating pictures. But of course, they had to drive somewhere scenic, and all the moms got to take pictures, which is like that's what I shared with you. And there was dinner, and then there was prom. And since then they've gone out on a date together. That was yesterday.
Go get it, Zach.
Yeah, they went to Texas Roadhouse. Speaking of country music.
Okay.
So yeah, this is a whole new thing in the Baylor household of dating. That's new. It's new. So, but
good for Zach.
Yeah.
And I like that they sort of coordinated their colors a little bit. His little pocket, it's like a
pocket square. Yeah.
It's not really a square
or whatever.
Matches her dress.
Yes. Yep.
Very, very, very cute and attractive couple, I must say.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So how did this make you feel?
That's a good question.
Well, here's why I asked, right? Because you've been very open, and not to open a whole can of worms here, right? If you don't want to talk about it,
no, it's fine. Yeah.
But like you've been very open about Zach's early health struggles and everything, and about how look, the kid is an absolute fighter, total badass in my opinion, with everything that he had to go through. And like I feel like this is just like with the driving, this is yet another like milestone in a life well lived for him.
Yeah, it is.
It is nice. Just wondered how this is hitting you.
Yeah, it's another milestone, right? And that does make you happy. I have to say, another Zach story. It's going to be the Zach corner. Okay. So, he's a junior right now in high school, going to be senior. So he's starting to think about things like college and what he wants to do.
Absolutely.
Stuff like that. Right now, he is considering going into something in the medical field, something like nursing, maybe nursing. Who knows? Which is also kind of sweet because, like, in a way, like he's giving back all the medical stuff he did. He has a friend who is a surgical nurse at a VA hospital. And he asked her if he could do like a job shadow because he wanted to see what it was like, to be a nurse. So we got to go and he put on the scrubs and all that stuff. Actually, I'll send you that picture too. Maybe I can make this show art.
Okay.
Hold on, Drew. There you go. Get to put on. So he got to kind of sit on 4 medical procedures. And like he had to watch, what did he say? A colonoscopy. He had to watch someone like putting a catheter in. There was some sort of like abscess that was drained. Like gross.
This sounds very gross.
Gross stuff. And talking to him after it was done, he's like, "Yeah, I had a good time. I liked it."
Okay.
Yeah. So there. Yeah. I would have just passed out. Like I am so squeamish.
Oh no, 100%.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So so yeah, thinking about medical field, dating this one young woman. Yeah, it's good. It's big milestones. Feels good.
Man,
Feels good.
everything's coming up, Zach.
Feels good. It feels good. Yeah. And who knows? Like this, there's always it's high school. There's gonna be drama and stuff. And yeah, you ask him how his date was, and he said good. So he's not a big
That's
talker.
good. Good is better than bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It could be bad.
Now, so going back,
Mhm.
I want to get back to the prom thing here
Mhm.
and the whole girlfriend experience. But
Mhm.
like, so has he applied to any colleges yet?
Not yet. That'll be next.
Because this is about the time that's going to start happening.
Yeah, his senior year, that'll be the thing. There's probably some college visits in our future this summer. Uh, you know,
Now, given his recent proclivity for like, humans,
mhm.
where's he thinking? Has he mentioned any schools yet?
University of Cincinnati.
Okay.
Yeah,
Anywhere else or
that's all I've heard. There may be other things rattling around in his brain, but that's all I've heard.
okay.
Mhm. So
Now, I certainly wasn't the Casanova that Zach is in high school, so I didn't have this problem. But like, what year is his girlfriend?
she's same year.
Junior. Okay. And what does she want to do?
I don't know. This is all,
Okay.
this is all sudden, very sudden. Yeah,
Okay.
and I know, like, if this goes into the end of the senior year, then yeah, I get college things changes because they want to go and be together.
Yeah.
Gag, but yeah, I get it.
Hey.
No, hey,
Don't. Yeah.
no, it's young love. It's beautiful. Young love.
It is
beautiful.
young. It
It's
is young and beautiful.
Yep.
Oh man, I just can't get over how much he looks like you.
Yeah.
I mean, I have not. I think I met Zach once, but it was years ago, like when we worked together. I think he came to IGS like once.
Yeah, he
for,
did.
like,
Yeah.
for something.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen this kid in a while, and boy, has he grown.
Yeah, he sure has.
How tall is he?
Like 5'6", I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because you're a tall boy.
I'm 6'1".
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he still growing, or is he kind of?
No, I think that's about as tall as he's going to get.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
But-
Well, that hair adds a few inches.
Yeah, and so if you just think like he's 5'6", she is also short, so I guess that works.
Yeah, I was gonna say proportionally here. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, good for him, man.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Absolutely.
I like him in his little scrubs here.
Yeah. And like it's obviously you probably can't necessarily tell because you don't know my son very much, but if you zoom on into his face in that picture with the scrubs, he is legitimately happy.
Oh no. You no like that.
Yeah.
Like just I figured he was smiling in the picture because obviously his
Yeah.
handler
Yeah.
is also smiling.
Yeah.
But yeah, that looks like an ear to ear grin on that kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So he wants to be a doctor or a nurse or like
I don't know yet. We'll find out together.
yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah.
Man, that's cool. So what? Now, listen again. This is a whole world that I had like a pity date to prom. We can unpack that later if you want. But so he obviously did the sign. She said yes.
Mhm.
That's awesome. They
Mhm.
go to prom.
Yes.
So where was prom?
I don't know, Drew.
Was it at the school?
No, it was somewhere in
Okay,
here.
so-
yeah,
Okay, so it was like at a place.
yeah, it was at a place. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So like for us, it was like our prom. So in our school, the prom was like put on by the junior class.
Okay.
And you had to be a junior or senior to go.
Yep.
And you could bring an underclassman like if they got permission or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah, gross. Yeah, I get
Yeah,
it.
but yeah, like ours was in downtown Pittsburgh. So like, we like when I went, it was show up, take pictures, get in the limo, go down to prom. And like we had we afterwards we basically stayed at somebody's house and then we did after prom at a
Yeah.
local like amusement park. So what did they do like after everything was over?
Yeah, there was a bunch of people got together at one of his friend's house. He ended up spending the night there. Yeah, so there was like an after prom party. Yeah.
At the house, or did they go somewhere else?
They went to the house, I think. Yeah, they just stayed at the
Okay.
house. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. One of his friends has like a nice backyard and they can do like a fire and stuff. So yeah. Yeah, and
Okay.
it's all like these are all band kids and band parents. So like, my wife knows everybody because my wife is band royalty. So yeah.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah. She's the treasurer of the band boosters.
Okay, so she's kind of a big. You're saying your wife's Jennifer's kind of a big deal.
She's a big deal. She's a big deal. I've used that to my advantage once.
You're also a big deal. You're like official tech support.
Yeah, I'm tech support, but no one knows me. Everyone knows my wife.
Man behind the woman.
I've used that to get places I wasn't supposed to be in. Like my wife's the treasurer. Like I'm Jennifer Baylor's husband. Oh, go right in.
I'm Mrs. Paul Baylor.
Yeah,
I'm Mrs. Jennifer Baylor. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, good for Zach, dude. Thank you for sharing that wonderful update.
Yeah.
I'm very happy for Zach.
Yeah.
Any Arabelle updates while we're here? We might as well can't forget about Arabelle.
She's good. She's good.
Okay.
She's good. Yeah, she's good. She's
still doing a lot of band stuff.
Yeah, she's playing. She's dooting that horn. Yep.
All right, keep dooting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have a couple other things.
Yeah.
But I'll let you close out. Anything else on family stuff or?
No, actually, I'm gonna switch these up because I think the last one is actually gonna be quick. So as you know, I like my hipster web browser, Arc.
Yes, you do.
It's good. They recently released a mobile product called Arc Search. And today they finally brought Arc Sync into Arc Search, which means all of my bookmarks, all of my tabs now sync between my Mac and my iPhone. And I could not be happier. It is exactly what I wanted, how I wanted it. It is so beautiful. Thank you very much, the browser company. Just please.
Arc Sync in Arcs. Okay, so man, I'm sorry. I never downloaded any of this crap.
Okay. So Arc Sync is they're trying to be more cross-platform now. They have a Mac browser. They're working on a Windows browser. They just announced today they're starting on an Android browser. So they wanted a technology to be able to sync all of your bookmarks between browsers, right? And that's common in a lot of browsers, right? Chrome does it, Safari does it. Of course, Arc is a little different because you get all the vertical tabs and your spaces and your profiles and all that wonderful stuff that makes Arc great. So when they started going cross-platform, they introduced a technology called Arc Sync. You sign in with an Arc account, and then it syncs all your stuff between browsers. So essentially, your browsers on all of your devices are always like in the same state. They have the same tabs open, save bookmarks, all that stuff syncs. But that wasn't on the mobile app yet, and they finally brought it over there. So now my really Arc Search on my phone is now just an extension of my Arc browser on my Mac. Everything syncs up. It's all the same. Chef's kiss.
So hold on. I'm confused. So a couple episodes ago, you mentioned that the Arc browser was now on mobile devices.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the Arc browser. It's Arc Search.
That's what it's called.
Are those two different things?
It's called Arc Search. Yeah. Yeah.
So Arc Search is the name of the browser on the mobile.
It is.
Okay. That's where I was getting confused because I'm like, is Arc Search a different product or?
Yeah. It's just it's what it's called on the phone. Yeah.
So where's your data saved then?
I don't know. Some servers that I can't help pay for somewhere in the cloud. Okay. Probably in the cloud, Drew. I'm guessing in the cloud.
Okay. Like whose cloud though?
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
all right. I'm just asking. Asking the question.
I know. I get it. Yeah. I sign in with an Arc account. Yeah. I mean, maybe they tell me somewhere, but no. It's just Arc. Arc has that stuff, and I like them. Well, technically, it's the browser company. Still can't give them money. Still don't know how they're gonna make money. That still does make me nervous because I love this stupid browser so much. But yeah, what are you gonna do?
Friend of the show, Eric Darling says the Arc browser sounds quite depressing. I want to pass that feedback along. I mean, I know it's not for me. I tried.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
get
it's
that.
not for me. And here's the thing. I think the idea is cool. If I could like adjust my workflow to make it work, I would probably use it more. It's not for me.
The
Um
I'm like
oh, I know. You're
I
deep
I'm
in.
I yeah, I fly around that thing. I use keyboard shortcuts. I'm like opening split views to have multiple tabs open at the same time. I can
Mm,
do that all right from the keyboard. Like
okay.
it's a mm, I
Okay.
loves it. I loves it so much. I loves it.
So now okay, so if you obviously are on your computer right now, I'm sure Arc is
Mhm.
probably running because you have the show
It
notes
is.
open.
I'm looking at it right now. Yes.
So if you open your phone and go
Hmm.
to your browser and open a new tab, does that tab also open like immediately on your desktop then?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like
If I open up something new and I put it in that space. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They all
interesting.
sync. Yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Huh. Okay,
yeah.
well good
You
for
get a
you,
nice
buddy.
yeah. You get a nice little button to bring up all that stuff, and yeah, yeah. Everything's in sync.
Okay.
Wonderful. Highly recommended. 12 out of 12.
12 out of 12.
Hmm.
All right. Now what's this last thing? Cuz I'm a
I
sucker
bought
for anything Elgato, so hit me.
I bought something. I bought something.
Okay, tell
Uh
me what you bought.
uh I've been I I've been like dabbling into like automation. Like I have a lot of HomeKit stuff in my office.
Sure, sure.
I have some like Mac OS shortcuts I use. Like I have stuff that like, hey, I'm at work. So it brings all my work applications up and it turns on all of my lights and my fan and my air filter just how I want it. And I have a shortcut that says I'm done and it turns all that crap off. And
Uh-huh.
I have shortcuts to toggle my lights and things. And I've been thinking about getting a Stream Deck for a while just because I wanted to have buttons. I want to be able to say, "Oh, I would run this shortcut. I can just push a button. I can push a
So
button. I can
I
push a
think we
button."
should pause here and say what we're talking about when we say Stream Deck.
Okay, so it's not a Steam Deck. That's different.
It is a Stream Deck.
A Stream Deck is a product by Elgato. They have lots of different sizes and shapes.
We've talked
And
about their products on this podcast many times.
yes, yes. Essentially, what it is, it's a certain whatever number of programmable buttons. They have each button has a little screen, right? So you can display a certain icon or animated GIF or whatever you want on each individual button. And through their software, when that button is pressed, you can make it do something. It is very popular for people who do like video production or like Twitch streaming.
Uh-huh.
There's lots of integration to OBS for like changing scenes or, muting your mic, changing cameras, whatever you want to do. There's very much that's like their target audience, which is why it's called like a Stream Deck, right? It's meant for like personal video production. That's the primary use case. But they have a very rich plugin architecture that if anyone wants to spend the time and write some code, you can pretty much make the Stream Deck do anything. And for me, my primary use case was I wanted it to be able to run shortcuts, Mac OS shortcuts.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I've been kind of eyeballing them for a while, but I've never really pulled the trigger because I was like, well, it's kind of expensive and like they're kind of ugly. Well, they just announced a new line of products called their Neo products. And they have like a Neo game capture card, but like a webcam, a mic, and a light. And they have a different like design. They're white, they're more curvy.
Mm-hmm.
I think definitely taking like a page out of like Apple's like design book. And one of the new products is the Stream Deck Neo, which is their smallest Stream Deck that they've made. It's little, it's white, maybe it's about like 4 inches by 3 inches. I'd have to look at the specs, but that's roughly, maybe it's a little smaller than that. It's got 8 programmable buttons, and it's got like a dedicated display for like the time, and it's got dedicated buttons for like changing pages. So if you want to have different pages of buttons, as soon as I saw this come out, I was like, oh, $100, I'll buy that. And I haven't got to spend a lot of time with it. I got it Wednesday afternoon, and I was not at work today, so I really only used it for like a few hours. Uh, so far, my initial impressions, yes, it does what I want. I can push a button, I can make shortcuts go. It's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
The device, the hardware is also really nice. You know, the buttons, they're bright, maybe actually too bright. I might need to turn the brightness down, then it's dark in here. The stand that it's on, like it has this little built-in stand. You has like a couple different adjustments, so you can have the screen angled up at a certain angle. The bottom of the stand is not sticky, but it has a nice little grippy material, so you actually can push the buttons and it doesn't slide. It's done very well. It has an integrated USB cable, which I think is a bad choice, but whatever, it's okay. The Elgato software, at least on the Mac, is so bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So you're using this on a Mac. I'll let you finish your description because I definitely have some things that I want to compare notes on here. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. Like, it's good. Like, I haven't figured out exactly what I want every button to do and all that stuff yet. So I'm still kind of experimenting. Still like building some shortcuts and putting some buttons on there. I made a button today. I made two shortcuts. One to set at my office and my Mac up for recording a podcast, and I have a button that starts my recording, which is real nice. I push a button and I start recording, even though I could just push a button on my recording app on my Mac, but it's cooler to push a button on my Stream Deck. I like it. It's cute. It fits perfectly where I wanted it on my desk. Like I said, hardware, outside of the integrated cable, hardware is great. Software is... They need to hire somebody that actually like uses a Mac every day.
Yeah.
And tell them like, no. If the window is open, the icon needs to be in the dock, because that's how Mac apps work. I'm sorry, it's a little clunky. Do you have questions, comments, concerns?
So yeah, I mean, I've used the Stream Deck for many years now. I have a Stream Deck Mini. Yeah. And yeah, just like yours, it also has a hardwired USB cable, but the cable's pretty generous in distance and size.
It is, yeah.
So I don't really have a problem, moving it around my desk and putting it anywhere it needs to go. And it's great. Mine is the Mini, so it only has 6 buttons.
And the Mini does have only 6 buttons, so actually mine is a little bigger.
Yeah, so you have 2 extra buttons, plus you got a little display for like a timer at the bottom, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, and buttons for changing pages.
Yeah, so like for me, if I want like the Elgato software that I have, when I program this, like I can create like a next page button.
Yeah.
But I lose one of my buttons.
Use the button.
Right?
Yeah.
So like on the first page I lose 1. If I have 3 pages, I lose 2 on the middle page, and I lose 1 on the last page. But for me, the really important buttons that I have is I have a button to turn on my ring light, I have a button to mute my mic. And then I also have some Twitch interactions and some OBS like scene switcher buttons. That's all I really need. Now I have experimented with mine for again, home automation, HomeKit, that type of stuff. So I being able to turn on like my lights on my deck and everything just to see how it would work. And I've also used some shortcuts for like VS Code. So you can there's plugins for VS Code to like start a new build or debug or you can,
that's clever.
You can depending on how you want to integrate into your workflow, like you can use it in Photoshop, like you said, you can use it for like video editing and production and everything. I didn't know that Elgato has this new Neo line of products.
Yeah, it's new. Like they actually came out like this week.
Well, I'm looking at it and it's like it looks like there is a the game, basically they turned everything white because everything was black before.
Yep.
So they have the obviously the Stream Deck Neo, which we're talking about now, the Wave Neo, which is a mic.
Yep.
Key Light Neo, which is very interesting. Of all the products that are on here, I think this is the one that I think is the coolest because it is a key light that can be mounted to your laptop or monitor.
Oh. That is cute.
Yeah, so like if you wanted a light to make yourself look better on camera, this might be the one I would recommend. Now $90 seems a little pricey, but I wonder if you can control temperature on it.
It looks like it because there's like one picture where the light is very white, and let's see,
They
it might
have different
LED, and then
lenses, monitor
okay,
mount. Yes, yeah. So it basically looks like it uses the same software I controlled for my key light, brightness and temperature. So you can't do different colors, but you can make it colder or warmer light, which is nice.
yeah.
Yeah, that actually looks kind of cool because I would love to
Oh
put that like on my
shit,
laptop
yeah,
because I
that
have my
is
ring light on my
nice.
stream PC, but I don't have anything
Yeah,
for that.
yeah,
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 that's actually very nice looking. Um, what's the Wave? So the Wave Neo just looks like a typical mic.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. They have that capture card.
the cap, yeah. So again, the game capture card. This isn't anything new. Um, I I've used one of these. I actually in my current computer right now I have a 4K capture card that I use. So it's the same thing as this, except it doesn't need USB. It's just like directly in my
Yeah,
computer.
it's internal. Yeah,
Yeah, interesting. This is very interesting.
yeah, yeah. I mean, so far I've been pretty happy with it. It's a
Face
cute
Cam
little
Neo.
line. Yeah, so yeah,
So they also have a webcam, Face Cam Neo, which apparently that's not available yet. It's 1080p, 60 frames per second, which I mean, honestly, like, it's kind of all you need.
yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. I had no idea that they had launched this stuff.
Yeah, I saw it. Where did I see it? Like, I think someone posted. I think I saw it on Threads of all places.
Huh?
Someone saying like, "Hey, this is or so," because they had sent out some like you know they sent devices to influencers before they went on sale. I was like, "Hey, yeah, initial impressions. It's pretty great." And I'm like, "Ooh, okay."
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
Elgato makes pretty good hardware, but I will say
yeah,
this. Like right now on my PC where I'm recording this, if I open my taskbar, I have one, two, three. I have three little system agents running right now that are all Elgato. I have one for the
really?
prompter, one for the control center, which I can use
Oh,
for my
yeah,
light, and then one for the Stream Deck.
got it. Okay.
And not too long ago, and I think this is relevant to what you were saying about the software, I had to do a series of recordings for work. So all I did is I brought my work laptop over to my desk, plugged in a little USB hub, and then plugged in all my shit. And like, I mean, look, installing system extensions on the Mac is always kind of a roll of the dice because like you have to give a whole bunch of shit
Mhm.
permissions. Like,
Yeah,
there's usually a reboot involved in there somewhere. Like, but yeah, the software, like, it added like a whole bunch of shit to my taskbar as always start applications. I don't love that. Because I mean, I typically don't use this stuff on the Mac very often, but yeah, yeah, the software experience on the PC is perfectly fine. The Mac experience was a little jank. But I
yeah.
will
The
but I
app.
will say this, the interface is exactly the same. Like the interfaces
Yeah.
between the two are exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can feel that. It's not it's you could use a Mac long enough, you can tell, oh, this is not a Mac app. This is an app that they
Uh-huh.
also run on the Mac. Like
Yeah.
they built it for something else, and then it also, yeah.
What's the name of that framework that like if you were going to like
Electron.
so Electron is the framework?
Yeah, that's the JavaScript framework that you can use to build cross
Yeah,
platform
like you
apps.
compile it
Yeah.
once, which is why sometimes
Yeah.
apps are so huge because it has like the
Hmm.
other code base in it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll drop
I
a
thought there was
link
another
in.
one that like wasn't there some other framework for making mobile apps that like made your apps cross compatible between like Android and
Oh, yeah.
what is that called?
Oh, there's been a few of those. Hold on, let's see what Google tells me. Six
Ask your
most
mouse.
popular
Ask your mouse AI.
Oh, dude, there's Flutter, there's React Native,
Yeah, React Native was
there's
the one I was thinking of.
Kotlin.
Kotlin.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
uh,
Kotlin, and I know
mhm.
React had one too.
Yeah, React Native. Yeah. Oh, dude, the backlash for that AI prompt app in the Logitech software.
It's
It's
palpable.
oh, dude, everybody is pissed.
Yeah.
I
Well, there
guess
was an article
the
today.
worst thing is some people like they work for places where they're like, no, AI bad.
Yeah.
Like suddenly that like their mouse stopped working because they uninstalled the Logitech software automatically because it had one of the tasks said AI prompt builder.
Well, I mean,
So
the
yeah,
enshittification and like the force feeding of AI stuff, especially in Windows, has been a little bit gross. Like
yeah.
there was Copilot that showed up in there, you know.
Hmm.
Well, now apparently, like I don't know if you remember, but like when Windows 11 launched, there was this big kerfuffle because like you had to have a TPM module in your computer, right? Like
Yep.
you had to have a
Hmm.
physical hardware key thing for cryptology and like keeping your stuff safe, which is fine. But like a lot of people who had like 2 or 3 year computers, like they didn't have that. Most modern motherboards and systems have it, but like if you had bought a computer in the past 3 years, like there was an even money chance you couldn't run Windows 11 at all. They eventually like relaxed that, and there are ways to install it without it now. But now the new thing, and I just linked a Tom's Hardware article here. It'll be in the show notes. Apparently, like if your computer doesn't meet the requirements to run AI, it's just going to put a watermark on your screen, like you can't run AI. Like what the fuck is that?
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah,
That's awful. No,
yeah.
no. Oh,
With Windows
yep.
11 24H2 update, all geared to have AI intensive applications, Microsoft has added code that will warn you if your PC does not meet the hardware requirements, according to code dug up by somebody on X, also known as Twitter. It'll basically just display a watermark on your computer. And like, you know,
That's gross.
before,
It's
like,
gross.
if you're the kind of person who like doesn't register Windows, like you get that watermark that's like, you know, register Windows, or like if
Hmm.
your computer couldn't be upgraded to Windows 11, like there would always be like this nasty message in system updates saying this computer doesn't meet the requirements for Windows 11. It's kind of the same thing, and
Yeah.
it feels like ultra gross.
Now, I will say, as someone who uses Microsoft products at his job, we've been using Copilot for a while now. So instead of like Teams and
Mhm.
Office and Outlook, it is really good.
Yeah, Copilot is pretty good.
It's really good. The way they integrated it, it is super nice.
Yeah.
At what I'm really impressed with is like you can ask it to summarize a meeting, and it does a good job. It does a good job of like ignoring like the bullshit that's not work related, unless you really get into the bullshit.
Also, like if so, from like a meeting recording, it basically summarizes the notes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Hmm.
I mean
It
that
actually does a really good job.
that
Yeah.
is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, buddy. Well,
Pretty
listen,
good.
I'm gonna go pass out, so let's get out of
Me
here.
too. I'm about tired. Hey, you know what I'm gonna say? Go to our website, doingtheirbest.com. You can find show links, social media, all of that wonderful stuff. And hey, thanks for listening.